Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge. Welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And today's a special day because we've crossed our midpoint. So now we are doing more shows than we have shows left to do. So 182 more shows after show number 183 today. So real quick, describing myself, up in my office at the Fledge. I've got brown hair, brown eyes. I've got a headset on. I'm wearing my Wu-Tang sweatshirt today. I broke with tradition where I usually have a local shirt on, but was in a Wu-Tang mood today. So today on the show, we've got our good friend Alex. How you doing, Alex?
Pretty good.
Yeah. What you been up to today?
Nothing really. I woke up and just lazy around. Today's like my one only day off of the week, so
Yeah.
just kind of chilling about.
Thank you for being here, and thanks for doing the show. What can we start with you telling us about yourself a bit?
Yeah. So my name is Alex. A lot of people know me as Alexis or Alex. I was born in Lansing. Pretty not normal looking, I guess. I know there's more, but I'm covered in tattoos, black hair, covered in facial piercings. A little bit of both, normal and not normal, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah. Did you grow up in Lansing?
For the most part, yeah. When I was younger, I did move around a lot. I think when I was like 7, I moved to Florida for about 3 or 4 years. And then we moved back up here due to finding out that my father had a brain tumor and we just wanted to be around family. Then I moved around Michigan a little bit. I lived in Midland for a little bit. I went up to Cooks, Michigan by Manistee for a little bit, St. John's, and then eventually just came back to Lansing. And I lived in Holt. I went to Holt for most of my high school experience. Okay. And then from there, just kind of moseyed around town.
So you're pretty busy. I've known you, we've been talking about like scheduling stuff and all this for a couple of years. Can you tell us about some of your projects?
I've been doing music since I was probably, I want to say like 14, 15. I've definitely gone through different names, I guess, different brands of myself, just while I was kind of growing and learning to kind of be myself. I started out acoustic, just like me, and a guitar. Started playing shows like that, and then learned kind of how to use like synth programming and everything like that. And lately now I have been going to a local studio and actually like working with local musicians to kind of figure out how I want to sound at this point in time.
Yeah. And you've got a fairly big milestone that you've hit in the last, when did you release your LP?
I released the EP December. So I wanted to release it kind of like the spring, summer of 2020. But then 2020 happened and I couldn't. So it was kind of like a goal of mine to release it in the year 2020. So I released it in, I think, mid-December, I want to say. So.
And do you want to tell us about that?
So the EP is called Everybody Wants Me Dead. My parents are not happy with that name. They thought it was very morbid, but there's a reason behind it in a way. Since I've lived here in Lansing most of my life, and just like most teenagers, I was a dumb teenager. I, kind of butted heads with a lot of people here in town. I've noticed that there are certain parts of, I guess not certain parts of town, but like there are just certain groups that are very cliquey or snobby and stuff like that. And I was never one of those people.
Mm.
And they just, they didn't like me because of it. So I would always get choice words thrown at me. And I thought that, what better way than to just write an EP about it.
Yeah. So that's on all the platforms, right? Somebody can search it up and find it pretty easy.
Yep. As far as I know, it's on it's definitely on Spotify, YouTube, Pandora, Apple Music, most, if not all, streaming platforms.
Have you been getting the downloads or listens that you were hoping for or expecting, or is it going well, I guess?
Yeah, I'm just surprised that, there are people willing to listen to it in the first place. So it worked for me.
So we were, you talked a little bit about trying to kind of figure out where you are as a musician. I don't know if you said that exactly, but I'm paraphrasing. And I had asked you earlier of what the genre is. I think that would be interesting to tell people about what you said and then maybe define that answer for them too.
Yeah. So whenever anyone, because I do get that question a lot, like, oh, well, what kind of music do you do? It's always the same, just, that's a good question. Because it's really hard for myself to kind of label myself as a certain type of artist. Like, oh, I'm a rock artist, I'm a pop artist. Like, just because there's so many different kinds of music that you can learn and that you can do, that you can all mesh into one. That it's really hard to categorize into one. But if I had to put the EP in like what I'm currently working towards, genre wise, I guess it would be some sort of like hardcore, like punk pop kind of deal. Again, there's so many different subgenres with stuff like that it's hard to narrow it down. But it's definitely more towards the sound that I want to go and that I've always wanted to do, rather than where I started as just a girl in her guitar.
That's kind of the same thing you said about the cliques and the pockets of town, in that you don't want to be that. You don't want to be in this clique. So maybe you don't need a category, or maybe you're pioneering your own.
Yeah. I just kind of want to just be myself. And
yeah, I always think, when people get categorized or put into genres like that, does it ever kind of break the creative spirit a little bit? Does it start to channel you or put walls around you?
That's kind of what I kind of see it as, just as like you feel like you have to fit this certain genre or this certain look or this certain way. So like I feel like in that sort of way you have to work harder, just because you're stretching yourself out. Like I know like there were certain points in time in the past where it's like, okay, I need to sound this way, but is this what they would like? Like, and just it stresses you out and you just can't focus on what you want to do, and it just makes you not want to do it.
Do you think much about that? Is this what people's going to like, or do you sit there and this is what I like and I'm going to go, or a little both?
In the past, I was more towards like worrying about what other people thought for it. There are times every now and again where it'll pass me and just be like, oh, well, will they? But I have to remember, like, I'm an adult now. I can make my own choices. If they don't like it, then they don't have to listen or really worry about me. So
yeah. So I think we'll loop back to your music a little bit, or in a minute or so. But you also do more than that, right? I mean, you've got. You want to tell us some of the other things you're doing?
Really, other than music, I just work a lot. I am a body piercer at one of the tattoo shops around here, Ink Therapy Lansing. We work a lot with the community. We usually do like specials where most of the money goes towards a local charity or like the hospital for the kids and stuff like that. But because of COVID, we can't, which sucks. But I mean, we've been staying super busy. So that's fun.
Yeah. So, you're not a tattoo artist though either, or in
Nope.
addition?
Nope.
Um,
Eventually I want to learn. I just can't draw a straight circle for the life of me. So
I can't either. Um, what about so? There's the music. There's the piercing. Are you an artist too? Like, do you paint or
um
draw? I mean, you can't draw circles, obviously. You said.
right. I try and like paint or like sketch every now and again. Or like if something cool comes to mind, I'll just like, sketch it out, come back to it later. I do like to do a lot of more like hands-on stuff. Over quarantine, like our first quarantine during the spring and summer, I would go for walks through like forests, woods, and stuff like that, and find bones from animals that have passed away. And I was going to just leave those like that over the summer. I got a puppy. She kind of got into my little tote and broke a lot of them. So
Mm,
I kind of repurposed them and used like local flowers and like stones that I have and everything like that, and just kind of meshed them all together to make just like a little sculpture sort of thing that kind of shows like, I guess in a way, like the life and death cycle.
yeah, I like it. So now I'm going to walk backwards a little bit. Uh, People that are older, or people that are conservative, those people in those cliques, maybe. They don't understand piercing, I don't think. And I want to talk about that a little bit. Why is
Okay.
piercing important? Why do people do it? Why? I got holes in my ears and all of that, and I've wanted to do more, but I just never have because I feel too
Right.
old to do it now. So,
Oh
two
no.
questions there. Am I too old? And two, I have an idea why I want to do it, but why do people do this?
One, you are never too old. I think I had one lady come in to get her ears pierced, and she was 93. That was probably my funnest experience there. So you're never too old to get a piercing or a tattoo. I'll have a bunch of ladies in their 40s, and they're like, "Oh, well, I have my nose pierced, but I think I'm too old to get a hoop." And it's like, honestly, it's your body. Do whatever makes you happy. It's your face. It's not anybody else's. Um, Part of the reason why I got into the body modification like piercing industry, one, I had been stabbing myself with sewing needles and putting jewelry in since I was like 13. I always thought it was so cool. But I also noticed like how much confidence it would give a person. Um, Even like myself, I would notice like, oh, I got a piercing. Like I feel like I look a lot better. I feel more comfortable with myself. Um, and it's just like it's more in a way like a body art, kind of like a tattoo. But the nice about piercings, like you can take a rid of it and then you can get it redone. You can't really do that with a tattoo.
Right.
um, so it gives you a little bit more flexibility, but it's also an easier way to kind of express yourself.
So I kind of think of it as like a ritualistic. Is that a word that comes to your mind when you talk about piercings?
It can be in certain circumstances. I know there are people who will get piercings um, based on like their culture or their heritage. Like if you ever look back and do a lot of studies, a lot of tribes will get like their septums pierced and stretched out, or like their lip, or like other piercings, their nose, their ears. And it's all just based on, most of them, it's based on like the hierarchy in said
Mm,
tribe. But a lot of people do get those piercings just to kind of pay homage to their heritage, which I think is super cool. and it's more of like a subtle but modern way.
Yeah.
But I feel like there is kind of like you said, a ritualistic kind of essence to a piercing. Not only because you do have to go through a lot of steps during it, but it does kind of, I don't know, it like releases a different part of like serotonin in your body. That's just like,
Right.
it's different. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, I think a long time ago, 1984, I got the top of my ear pierced. And that was the first piercing I had. And then I did the rest of my ear. I mean, I did a few spots in them and all of that. And there's something about that feeling that you got to get courage, man. I'm not going to lie. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you're scared, you're vulnerable. You're like, what the hell am I doing? And then I thought always later on that if I could tie that to some special event or something coming up or something that I wanted to remember, that's why I think about them a lot. Is I kind of want a piercing, but I don't even know where to start. I'm just gonna get my right through my cheek or something.
Right. Well, I'll have people come in, obviously, like for their birthdays, or we used to have people come in for like little tattoo dates or piercing dates, like with their best friend or like with their significant other and everything. And it's just like a little moment that you guys can share together, and it's just really cute. So stuff like that. Like there's so many ways that you can like celebrate certain things. Or like, a lot of people get tattoos for like remembering someone, or like piercings to like congratulate someone on something that they did. There's just so many different possibilities.
And I think that, people look back and maybe they look at the 60s and say, okay, or 60s, 70s, punk rock, that's when everyone started piercing themselves. And they, then whatever, everyone had a, earring in their left ear, because if you did it in the wrong ear, you were, you know what I'm saying, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so, but it's centuries, it's millennials, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I like that part that you kind of pointed that out, and I want to emphasize it to everyone is, this is something cool. This is something that's not just, I don't know, like kids being kids.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have a bunch of people come in to like get their nose. And they're like, which side is the right side or the wrong side? It's like, there isn't a right or wrong side anymore. That was just like a social construct back then. Like it's 2021 now. Like you can do whatever you want. So
It was so weird because I started with my right ear intentionally, because I hated that whole thing. Okay, so I'll just say to everyone, back in the 80s, if you got it in your left ear, you were straight. If you got it in your right ear, you were gay. I have no idea where that came from. And everybody complied. And I was like, I am not complying with that. That is the dumbest thing. And I got called names. I got called names all the time. It was hilarious. that reaction would come from people. Just so stupid.
Crazy.
Yeah. So now I'm going to step back to your music a little bit, because I'm starting to see kind of a mission that you might be on. But I want to ask you that more directly. With your music, what would you say what are you trying to do? What are you trying to influence? Like, what's a vision you see that would be awesome that happened because of your music, maybe?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't really it's not like, oh, I want to make music to be like a rock star or anything. Like, sure, it'd be cool, but that's not like the main reason why I'm doing it. The main reason why I really started music was just kind of like a way to work through emotions and kind of deal with stuff. A lot of this EP was written after a really hard time in my life. I was in a very unhealthy and toxic relationship. A lot of stuff happened, legally, and I was in the hospital and all this sort of stuff. And therapy, they tried to put me on medication for depression and all that stuff. And then they're like, oh, you need to go to therapy and all this stuff. And I just felt like making music was kind of the easier way to go about it. Like, I could say what I wanted to and wouldn't have any backlash or like, oh, well, why does it make you feel that way? And it's like, I feel this way and this is how I'm going to say it. And I have had people in the past come up to me or like message me and just be like, hey, like, I relate to what you're saying and I understand it and I'm really glad. So really, I think the only mission that I have for this is just to let people know that, like, hey, you're not the only one. Other people go through this, and it's okay. And like, there is a way for you to, you know, rise above it in a way.
Is there something you do, and maybe the obvious answer is music, but is there something you do every damn day that pushes that mission forward? And mission's not quite the right word. I'm struggling with the right word for what you're talking about, but we'll stick with that for a second.
Yeah. I mean, really, it's kind of just, you know, waking up, looking in the mirror and telling myself, like, okay, you got this. You kind of have to do it, but like, you got this, you can do it. Like, it's not as bad as you think it is. Like, I've definitely progressed in the past 3 years. I'm not where I want to be personally, but I'm definitely a lot farther than I was when I was 17. So
yeah. Are you hoping that your music, your healing translates into it and the listener also can heal? And maybe heal's not the right word. I'm struggling with words today for some reason.
You're good. I'm the same way. Yeah, in a way, kind of more of just like a relation more than like a healing.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, listening to the lyrics, I know that they are a lot more, I guess, like sad and dark and everything like that. Again, like, I usually use my songs as just like a place to vent and put my feelings out. And even though I might not be, you know, like, oh, I'm saying your name, like, I'm not doing that. I'm not calling someone out in a song, but I know who the song is about. But I make it kind of, I guess, vague enough in a way that, you know, someone can listen to it and be like, hey, I said those exact same words in my head or about this person, and you know, I understand. So
Yeah.
just so it's kind of more like personal, and has kind of like a sense of vulnerability to it.
Yeah. As you were talking, I was racing through any song I could think of, just everything I could think of. And all the songs that are really powerful, to me anyways, are the songs that aren't talking happy. I mean, I forget, Be Happy, Go Crazy. I don't know that song, but, you know, I think like Pieces of a Man from Gil Scott-Heron is just such a powerful and depressing song. That's the one that stuck in my head. Yeah, I can't wait. I haven't listened to your album, I'm ashamed to say, or your LP or EP. I'll keep getting it wrong. But I'm going to go listen to it. Shannon put a link to your YouTube channel up in the comments. So thank you for that. So
Thank you.
We daisy chain the shows together. And yesterday on the show, I had a young man named Jarrell. And his question to you is, you know, what makes you get out of bed in the morning? What motivates you? I don't know. Yeah, what keeps you going? And I like one of your answers you already said is you have to.
Right. You know, being an adult, you kind of have to. You can't choose not to. There's a lot of reasons. In the past, you know, few years, I've made a lot of close friends or reconnected with a lot of people that I didn't think that I would. This guy definitely helps me a lot. He's my little baby.
We'll say hi. Oh, okay.
Not happy. Dance. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, he just likes to stay by my side. I am in a healthy relationship now. That has definitely helped me do what I need to do. I honestly don't know where I would be without my fiance and my support group of like best friends and my family and everything. So they definitely help motivate me. my coworkers, just because they're great. I've never had a better job than where I am. Like, I'm proud to say, what are you doing, dude? I'm proud to say where I work, and what I do.
Yeah.
And then really just like, I don't want to say fans. Like, I hate saying fans. But that people that listen to my music and follow me in my journey of everything.
So I got a couple guys here at the Fledge today fixing a projector that fell down, and we're gonna put your music on right after we get off the interview and listen to it together.
Oh, okay.
So, and then I also want to put James Saylor. Do you know him?
I'm not sure.
I'll connect you, but love what you are doing. Would like to know where you are working. Unfortunately, I'm in a meeting. Maybe Jerry can connect us. I'll get you connected with James.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So tomorrow on the show, I've got a guy that, I think he came to Michigan State from Spain to learn about gaming. Michigan State has an amazing gaming program. I don't think people know that. Oh, you know that, so that's good. And he writes educational games. So like his first one was about biology. This one's about grammar. What question would you like me to ask Johan tomorrow?
What inspired him? Because like, obviously, gaming is so big. Everybody loves gaming, but like, what made him want to do like gaming, but also make it like educational, something like worthwhile. So it's like, it's not just like mindless, point and shoot stuff.
Yeah, and I think that you've really, as a creative, you're going to talk about your inspiration and your answers. I want to ask you, if you don't mind, what inspired you to get your first piercing?
Well, my older sisters my parents should have known. They should have. Both of my sisters were covered head to toe in piercings and tattoos. And I thought, like, I always looked up to my sisters. They were always, and still are, just so strong and powerful and independent. And I always felt like that just kind of added to it. Like, you look badass, you feel badass. So like, I feel like it kind of helped. My first piercings, my mom actually did. She just, shoved an earring through my ears when I was 9 in our kitchen. Very traumatizing when I look back at it. But I think that's also kind of a reason why. One, not only just like it helps you with the confidence and like mood booster, but also just like, I've heard a lot of crazy stories about people getting pierced, and I just like to not have children go through that same process and come to a professional and someone that they're comfortable around and can trust.
Yeah, I think when I was a kid growing up in the 70s, I was surrounded. My babysitters were hippies. My babysitters, wanted piercings and all that. So I must have seen, ice cubes and potatoes and every little trick. And all of their friends and all of my girl cousins always got piercings. And it wasn't until the 80s, till I guess the boys started doing it.
Right.
Yeah, I grew up in a weird time. Sorry. That's why we're all messed up.
Everybody's a little messed up. It's fine.
And all times are weird, probably. So, like I was saying, you're the halfway point for me. And yesterday I got inspired to add a question to the show. And the question is, what is happiness to you? And are you happy? Are you it?
I mean, happiness can be a lot of different things. It can be short-term happiness. It can be long-term happiness. I really think happiness for me personally is just being surrounded by people that you enjoy and can, deal being around and just like lose track of time. Over, I think it was in October, my fiance and I went on a vacation up north. We just drove all the way up to Marquette and drove all the way back down. And it went by really fast just because it was, it was fun. I had a really fun time just, the two of us enjoying nature, seeing the UP in the fall again. since living up there was something kind of, I guess in a way, like otherworldly almost, just
Mm-hmm.
because, we're always surrounded by the city. So it's really nice to just kind of disconnect yourself. I guess just something that I feel like happiness is just something that kind of makes you look within yourself and be like, yeah, this is it. This is where I need to be right now.
Yeah.
And then
So,
I guess I'm happy right now. I mean, I obviously have my high and low points. I'm definitely happy with where I am right now in life, though. Like I said earlier, I do have a bunch more to kind of conquer to where I fully want to be. I don't think I'll ever be where I fully want to be because, we're human. We're always working on ourselves. But like I said, I am definitely happy from where I was in the last 5 years or so.
I love those answers. Like I told you before, every answer is right, but you just give me more information on how, because we all have to define happiness, and I think a lot of times it changes as you go through life. And to hear your definition was very good, and I'm glad you're happy. I guess it spikes, right?
Yeah.
Like it
Oh
does
yeah.
to all of us.
Yeah.
So, uh, anything we forgot to talk about?
Not that I can think of, no.
All right. You want to take us out with something?
Sure. My name is Alex, and it was really nice to be here. I'm working on new music still, so that's about it.
All right, everyone, go click on that YouTube link, or better yet, maybe go find it on Spotify and download it and pay for it. Is it for sale?
On Spotify, it's free. I think you have to pay for it on like Apple Music and stuff like that.
All right, some of you go pay for it so that we can make some more money for our local artists. So thank you so much for coming on the show, Alex. It was great to talk to you and great to see you again. And every damn day, we're on the same show every damn day at 2 p.m. So we will see you all later. See you, Alex.
All right, see ya.